Welcome to Strip Cover Look, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Fort.
And I'm Dalton Gentry.
And we're here for book news.
Book news for April. Month of April book news. I don't know any other ways to say it. I'm enjoying this pipe, excuse me. We should
I'm enjoying this cigar, excuse me.
Anyway, April. We've got some things coming out in April. We have some events coming up in April. And as always, we have some literary birthdays for the month of April. Adrian, anything you'd like to start with, or you just want to dive right in here?
Just dive right in, yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, some books coming out in April.
All right.
Not really our taste in books, but some notable ones here we'd like to mention. First and foremost, coming out from New York Times bestselling author Jojo Moyes, I believe it's pronounced, The Peacock Emporium. So that's definitely going to be a big one a lot of people are looking forward to. I know this is one of her newer novels coming out.
Obviously. This is the strain that we go through trying to talk about things we have no idea about. Mainly things that have not been published for 100 years.
Every time I go through the list of like book releases for the month, I'm like, maybe somebody I'll recognize is on there. Maybe that new Hemingway's coming out.
Oh, no, never.
Somebody we do recognize, though.
Yeah.
Another novel by E.L. James.
Oh.
The Mister.
Oh.
Such a coy, subtle title from someone who wrote 50 Shades of Grey. I have not read 50 Shades of Grey. I'm not opposed to reading 50 Shades of Grey, but I just don't know if I can get you on board for that.
Well, we'll figure it out soon on the channel. But
Really?
the Mister sounds like basically they stripped covers off of 50 Shades of Grey and put new ones on it.
Yeah.
And they're just shipping it back out to you.
Erotica is a strange genre. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't know how to, like, move forward from that. Like, it all seems to be the same thing. We're getting to one point here. But there is such a wide genre within the genre. There's specialized genre.
Yeah, so when I was in grad school, I was basically living at a public library I was putting in 40 hours a week there. And I made a point to get out of my comfort zone a little bit and start picking things up off of other shelves. I'm going to be here anyway. Let's figure out what some of these other writing styles are. I was always afraid to journey to the romance section.
It's fair.
Because I don't want to be the guy that's turning the pages and all of a sudden 30 and 32 are stuck together.
It's intimidating.
I don't want to be in the library for that experience because I don't want to scream like a 15-year-old girl when it happens. Just bloody murder.
There is a book coming out. I think it might be right up your alley. It's called Next Level Basic: The Definitive Basic Bitch Handbook. Stacy Schroeder.
What are you implying?
I don't know. I just really wanted to bring that one up and just be like, maybe, I know you're into self-help books. I know you're into, like, bettering yourselves, like good strategies for life. Maybe we could consider it. Moving on.
If either of us is basic, it's you.
Moving on.
If either of us is basic, it's you. You spend a lot more time pampering than I do.
Do you say, really? Like, my hair takes a while, but, like, I've used your bathroom. You literally cannot see your counter due to all the colognes, beard creams, and niceties.
Okay, A, there's no niceties. What are the niceties? B, cologne is one thing.
Okay, cologne's one thing. I use cologne. I have one bottle. It's the same cologne I always use. You have at least a dozen in there.
Yeah, I pick one up from time to time when they go on sale around the Christmas time.
Okay.
The beard creams are always gifts.
Always gifts?
I have never bought a single one.
I go through a lot of beard oil. I do. But I'm just saying, so...
Does my beard look like it gets oiled all that much?
So
look at it. Look at it.
Fair.
Does it look all that crisp?
Daily.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Daily
my
regimen.
point, not yours.
My point here is you have a dozen bottles of perfumes.
Yeah, that's not unusual, I don't think.
I think that's a little unusual.
I don't think that's unusual. That is a...
Not only do you have a dozen bottles of perfumes, you have a dozen bottles of perfumes that you purchased because they were on sale, so you were being frugal.
Yeah, I'm a cheap ass. I'm a cheap ass. But I think that having colognes or perfumes is a status thing.
Okay.
It's not do you smell cologne on me now?
I don't.
Yeah. Do you ever smell cologne on me?
All I can smell right now is cigar.
That's my cologne.
That's fair. Moving on. One more book coming out for the month of April, a bit of a nonfiction. We always try to include a little bit of nonfiction from time to time. The Matriarch, Barbara Bush and the Making of an American Dynasty, Susan Page.
It's a hell of a transition.
It is a hell of a transition, isn't it? You were really, really big into Abraham Lincoln. What is the Lincoln book you like? Do you remember?
Lincoln's Melancholy.
That's the one. Presidential nonfiction, definitely a big thing. This is coming from the First Lady's perspective and her contributions to that presidency. So it could be interesting. If that's your thing, it's definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah, I wonder what the big thing with it is, because when I was getting into biographies, it seemed to me a natural place to start, and I don't know why.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Well, it's a very prominent figure. It's a very public figure.
But especially like post, I don't know, 1960, politicians have been nothing but politicians.
Fair.
You know, like John McCain was the lone exception that guy went through some stuff and then became a politician. But most politicians are career politicians. So why, like, obviously, like I've read about Abraham Lincoln, I've read about Andrew Jackson, I read a little bit about Truman. Seems I'm forgetting one. But
Seemed
those
like a
were,
Teddy Roosevelt kind of guy.
I did not. But those people were all other things. You know what I mean? I just don't know why. It's just strange to me that presidents are big deals for biographies.
Definitely
and I guess one contributing factor to that, like this is going to go off the rails, but I guess one contributing factor to that is the United States of America has always been a very literate society.
Okay.
There has never been a leader of the United States for which there was not something contemporarily written.
Fair.
Right? There's no mystery to presidents.
What always really concerns me with the nonfiction is the big sellers are either the presidential nonfiction, which we're looking at, people who have contributed to society, done great things, educated men, hardworking men, and like, who's on TV right now biography. Like, you're going to put your Abraham Lincoln Melancholy right next to Russell Crowe's My Bookie Book.
Russell Brand.
Oh, did I say?
Yeah, Russell Crowe did
if
not write a
Russell
bookie
Crowe's My Bookie Book came out, I would buy every copy I could find.
I guarantee you. So there's a documentary about Russell Crowe's 30-odd foot of grunt. Do you know what that is?
No.
That is his band.
Oh.
Russell Crowe so he did not pop onto that Les Miserables out of nowhere.
Well, he should have never popped onto that Les Miserables because Russell Crowe is one of the worst singers I've ever heard in my life. Fun fact, I do love Russell Brand. I own My Bookie Book. It's interesting, for sure. That man's a bit of an eccentric.
He's an idiot.
A bit of an eccentric.
He's a moron.
I'm a fan.
He's a stupid person.
Moving on. Do we want to do birthdays or do we want to do literary events?
Go to literary events. We'll end with birthdays.
Just got a little bit of a sampling here, some literary events. We actually have a very large one coming up very close to us. Columbia, Missouri, the Unbound Book Festival, August 18th through the 20th. I believe it's at Stevens College in Columbia. It's not Mizzou. But that is a 3-hour drive away from us. And I have to harp a little bit about the Unbound Book Festival. Because I found it, and I clicked the link, and George Saunders popped up. And George Saunders? 3 hours away?
It's worth an afternoon.
We're going on a road trip. I can't find George Saunders in the itinerary. I think they just put it there to mislead me specifically. So if George Saunders is appearing, maybe we should mention that. If not, why is he on the homepage?
Right.
Moving on. I'm going to be really upset if it's not George Saunders.
Me too. You didn't show me the picture that you found.
It's going to be like Professor Yoakum of Stevens College Literature Department.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be really upset. But anyway, moving on, the LA Times Festival of Books, if you're out in Los Angeles, it's going to be the 13th through the 14th. That's going to be another large one. Their listing of like guests and everything is massive. I scrolled through at least 40 people with the last name that started with A.
Wow.
They don't have any like major, featured artists. So that's a huge one if you're out in the Los Angeles area. And a small one close to us over in Lawrence, Kansas, the Lawrence Poetry Festival. It's their 6th annual poetry festival. Completely free if you're going to be in the area. Go learn a little bit about some poetry.
Yeah.
Adrian, let's talk about birthdays.
April 3rd, Washington Irvin.
Okay.
And Jane Goodall.
I love Jane Goodall.
Yeah?
Purely on premise.
Go on.
I don't know why, and I can't explain it. I've never really read any of Jane Goodall's works. I've never really studied any of Jane Goodall's publications. I just love Jane Goodall. She just seems like a nice woman. I read one of her books. Let me take that back. I don't remember the name of it, but it was basically her talking about food and clean, healthy eating. And I'm going to loosely say vegetarianism. And I read a little bit of that when I was working at the bookstore. But for some reason, I've always just been fascinated with Jane Goodall.
Okay. On the 4th, Marguerite Duras and Maya Angelou.
Big name.
The 5th, Booker T. Washington. The 7th, William Wordsworth and Donald Bartholomew.
It's a good day.
There's a pairing, isn't it?
That's a good day.
The 10th, Joseph Pulitzer, who I've heard of for some reason.
I think you like won the Nobel or something.
12, a person who will never win the Nobel, Tom Clancy.
Oh, okay. So I didn't mention this, but let's be honest. There's a James Patterson book being published this month. Tom Clancy is the same for me. Yeah.
The 13th, Samuel Beckett, Eudora Welty. The 15th, Henry James. The 16th, Kingsley Amis. The 21st, Charlotte Bront. We're just zooming through these. The 22nd, Vladimir Nabokov.
Also a good one.
Yeah.
Also a good one. If you haven't seen, we did a... is it Vladimir Nabokov? Like, we got called out for mispronouncing it.
Nabokov is the traditionalist. I'm American. I say Nabokov.
We did a full review on Nabokov's Lolita about a year ago, 2 years ago.
You weren't here a year ago.
2 years ago. Great review, though. Fantastic book. Wonderful book. Carry on.
The 23rd, Billy Wigglestick.
Oh, Bill Shakespeare himself.
Yeah.
Look at that.
William Shakespeare, born in the month of April. The 26th, Marcus Aurelius.
Okay. Have you ever read any of his, what does he call them, musings or something like that?
Meditations?
Meditations. Have you ever read any of those?
I have not. It is a founding text for Stoicism.
Okay.
So I have read of and read parts of a lot of that book, but I've never read the actual book.
Marcus Aurelius's musings.
Watch me be completely wrong that it wasn't Meditations.
It could be. I think you're right, though.
28th, Harper Lee.
Okay.
And Terry Pratchett. Those are all the authors I know born in the month of April.
Okay, then. Harper Lee, definitely a fan. To Kill a Mockingbird, we reviewed that. Everybody reads that in high school. You ever read any Terry Pratchett? Terry Pratchett partnered with Neil Gaiman and did Good Omens. I believe it was Good Omens.
Yeah.
I have started that book at least a dozen times.
Yeah.
I have no excuse to not finishing it, except something always comes up, and I'm like, I just don't have time to get to it right now. I believe there is going to be an Amazon series for that, starring David Tennant. But I've always wanted to get into Terry Pratchett. I think he'd be right up my alley.
You said the same thing about, what's his name, that he wrote the book with?
Neil Gaiman?
Neil Gaiman, and it wasn't.
They seem to be kind of like on the same path there. I think Terry Pratchett more funny and whimsical than Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman's a little bit kind of darker fantasy, magical realism, though, for sure. So I think they definitely made a good pairing, and I'm a little upset that I haven't ever got through Good Omens.
I don't think anyone actually likes Neil Gaiman.
No?
I think people are in love with the idea of Neil Gaiman because he looks like the real-life adaptation of Snape.
Yeah.
But I don't think... I've known several people who are like, oh man, I'm going to read some Neil Gaiman. I'm going to read some Neil Gaiman. They sit down with American Gods and never finish.
I read The Ocean at the End of the Lane, and that's what sold me on Neil Gaiman.
You said you were lukewarm on it, didn't you?
It's one of those ones that, like, you read it and you finish it, and you're like, what the hell just happened? I don't know what's going on. It was actually when Megan read through it, and we got talking about it a little bit. Like, I think some good stuff's going on there. A lot of magical realism. I know we touched on that a little bit when we did, reviews on Stone Animals? I don't even remember who that was by.
Kelly Link?
Maybe. Oh, that's a long time ago.
I don't think it's Kelly Link.
I think Neil Gaiman has some chops, though.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely worth an exploration.
Well, then why does no one actually like him?
I don't know.
Why is it always that people say, oh, I really love Neil Gaiman. What have you read by him? Coraline?
Oh, Coraline's the popular one. American Gods, definitely a popular one as well. Good Omens. I think there's some intimidation, especially with like Good Omens and American Gods, because it's a huge text.
Yes, Kelly Link.
Kelly Link, Stephen King like size text.
Yeah.
Ocean at the End of the Lane, though, short novel, probably 140, 150 pages.
Yeah.
I definitely suggest it. I wouldn't mind revisiting it for the channel. I'm sure you'd hate it.
Well, we'll look into it. I mean, we've got to get some Neil Gaiman on the channel at some point because he seems to be a big name.
Fair. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, that's it.
Okay, well, this is book news for the month of April 2009. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Is your birthday in April?
No.
I feel like there's just something I'm not doing. I don't know what's going on.
We didn't muse very much at the birthdays.
We didn't muse as much, fair.
Yeah.
So
maybe
this is book news for the month of April 2019.
Muse in the comments about the birthdays.
Leave us your meditations in the comments about the birthdays. And give this video a like as well. We try to do book news every month, just kind of keep ourselves fresh on what's coming out, acknowledge some authors who have already been born in the month of April. Just talk about... It was
Pay
terrible.
respect to authors that will be born in the month of April.
Now, those upcoming authors that are coming out, those are the ones I want to get to soon here. But now, basically, just chat a little bit about some authors, you know, pay a little homage to
We should definitely start checking the authors whose books we mentioned being dropped to see if they are actually born in the month. Because that would be something if we missed that.
That is so much preparation, though. I'm not sure we're ready for that.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
We'll get there. If you like this kind of thing, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. Give this video a like as well. And if you'd like to help us create more great content like this here on Stripcover Lit, there's a link, as always, to our Patreon to be found in the description below.
To be down in the foundation below.